I did a podcast this morning with a wonderful gentleman in India, and he was asking me what abundant health means to me. And some of what unfolded from the conversation bears repeating and sharing with you here. We talked about how integral the mind is in abundant health, that it's not enough to simply eat well and to nourish the physical body, but that we have to also be mindful, and we need to become skillful with the mind. And so I told him a story. I've written about it in my blog site, but I haven't actually talked about it in interviews, so you may have not heard the story that I told. I want to repeat it and share it with you. I told a story about shopping, and it was a time before I had been diagnosed with cancer. I was living in California, and I was really striving to be healthy, and I wanted to be fit, and I wanted to be trim and look cute. You know, those were my reasons for wanting to eat well. And I also have a craving for salty, crunchy food, especially salt and vinegar chips. I just love them, and Maui onion chips. I'm not trying to trigger any of your cravings, but those are the things that I craved. And I walked past the chip aisle, and the single serving of salt and vinegar chips caught my eye, and I kept going. But as I kept going, I was aware of a conversation taking place in my head, in my mind. And the conversation went like this. Now, you know you're going to turn around and get those chips. You may as well just get to the end of the aisle and turn around and go get them, because you know you're going to get them. So just go ahead and go do it. But I ignored the voice, and I went down the next aisle. And while I was in the next aisle, the voice continued to say, you know you're going to get those chips. You may as well just go get them and put them in your cart. And so I did. I went and got them, put them in my cart, thinking, on one hand, wow, they're going to taste so good. I'm going to eat them in the car before I get home and hide the evidence, put the bag in the trash before I go in. They're going to really taste good. And then I had this awareness of another side of me saying, who said so? Who said so? Who said you're going to actually buy those chips and eat them on the way home? And who's in charge? Is that side of me in charge, or is the side of me that says, this is not something that I want in my body? Is that side of me in charge? And when does that determination happen as to who is in charge? And I was very aware that the determination would happen at the check stand, because if I purchased the chips, I knew I would eat them in the car. And so somehow I found the ability to rise up against the voice that was saying, no, you're just going to eat them. You know you're going to get them. Just buy them because you know you're going to eat them. And I went and turned around and put them back. And that side of me that said, who said so, dominated. And that was the beginning for me of understanding how to be skillful with my mind and how to take control of the choices and the decisions I was making in the moment that were creating my habits. Now, I didn't do it perfectly, and I still don't do it perfectly, but I'm a lot better at it in actually doing what it is I really want to do and not letting the drive or the craving or the impulse to give in to that other part that's saying, oh, just go ahead and do it. It's just once. It's not a big deal. Because for me, the just once will turn into every time I go to the store, I'm going to come home and eat a bag of it's not even food. It's not real food, guys. It's really not. So I don't want it. And now I have the more clarity, I should say, on how to listen to the side of me that has my best interest at heart. It can happen, but it takes practice. And it takes, what else does it take? It takes practice, and it takes awareness, listening. Being aware when you hear that voice saying, well, you've already eaten half the bag of cookies, you may as well eat the rest of it. That was another thing my mind would say to myself. To be mindful and to be skillful with the mind, to say that doesn't mean I have to do that. Who said so? because the who is saying so, you have control over, right? So I wanted to share that. I hope it has meaning for you, and it may help you out in some way if you're interested in becoming more skillful with your mind.